Hi, I'm Celia. Welcome to the Dream Oracle, where I talk about dreams. I am a dreamer, a dream researcher, and a dream coach. And I have a few stories I want to share with you today. Right away, let's get started with a few days ago, I laid down for a nap. I closed my eyes. And by the way, I often have, I go on I would say it's a vision quest. Anytime in the daytime when I lay down on my back and then I travel. And sometimes it's the unknown, so there is a little fear involved. The goal is to surrender because then this higher power shows me things and teaches me things. And so it can be easy to sometimes just choose to stay busy in this 3D experience instead of choosing to lay down on my back and go within and have the expansive experience. Well, I decided it was time to get back into my regular meditation practice, which I know most people would do like a comfortable seated position for that, but for me, lying down works best. Probably because of I have still a lot of pain from my car accident. So if I really want to go within, I can lie down and actually not be thinking about all the pain. Anyhow, manifesting total healing. So this particular day, a few days ago, I laid down for a nap. I'm gonna just read it right off the journal. I just wrote out and caught up on my moving my recordings onto paper, so it's fresh in my mind here. So I close my eyes, I'm having visuals right away. I'm with my dad in nature. We're moving quickly down this road. You can see all these different animals in the woods. It was like, okay, we are not getting out of the car. LOL. Then we were kind of stuck, and he says, "Help us." And I say, "Huh?" The scene flips. We are standing on our family home driveway. He goes to give me a kiss on the cheek to say goodbye, and I'm like, ew, what? I realize he's just saying goodbye. And then we're back in nature at this huge body of water. I'm standing at the edge, and I can see deep down into the water. So I don't know if he's with me or not after we say goodbye at the driveway. I just like kind of thought he was with me, but I'm realizing I was standing alone it doesn't matter, but I'm standing at the edge of this big body of water and I can just completely see it's completely clear water. And I look deep down and I can see different boulders. And I realize, like, I'm lucid. I realize I'm in this vision. I'm just like looking really, whenever I'm lucid in something and I'm being shown things, it's almost like I try to like open my eyes or open my awareness even bigger to like really take in what I'm being shown. Because I'm like, I want to see the details. I'm like, this is amazing. All of a sudden, I feel myself sinking deeper and deeper into the vision. So, what I've noticed with this kind of travel, it when you're being taken to a different realm, a different state of conscious, like I don't know, it's hard to it's mysterious to label what it is because I don't actually know. But you can, for me, it's many times it feels like first of all, I'm choosing to surrender to it and I'm like going down. It feels like I'm shifting down, 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 like through like realities, like shifting. Like it physically feels like a shifting. Well, I find myself feeling a little scared. And when this happens, I know that I can pull myself out of these. I can bring myself right back to this situation. But the goal is to lean into the unknown because that's freaking epic. Okay. That's where you can really grow. And so I am pretty brave. And so I choose to surrender. All right. I do my best. I don't pull myself out. The scene shifts where my awareness is then flying high up in the air, and below me, I see some white birds also flying. I notice one of these white birds below me, it shifts, it like shape shifts into being zebra print, and this makes me really amazed. I love it and I relax my fear. So when I felt a good amount of fear going from the beginning of this, as I'm like shifting, 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 um, to being up in the air. But when I was up in the air, I was able to. The eagle's been coming to me recently, so I feel like I was shapeshifted into the eagle, and so I was like above the other birds. But this flight experience was like heaven. Like I sunk into it in a way where I was really like, this is so beautiful. And it was like if you could just imagine what it would be like to just fly, way up high and on a beautiful day. It's just like I was able to release a lot of the fear because I realized like this is amazing. Like I am in this moment and I was really enjoying it. Then I'm in a then it shifts again. I'm in an underwater scene and again I'm like shifting through it. And then I recall passing jellyfish. It was like being like if you've ever seen those screensavers, those random screensavers, and it's like underwater footage. It was like I was inside of that footage and the jellyfish was like shoom, shoom. It was amazing. It was so beautiful. And then I feel myself going deeper and deeper. And I'm just like moving along this journey, watching beautiful things go by. And then I see below, like I see deeper in the water, there's it's like a little something, like a rock cluster or like a little building. It's like a destination I realize I'm going towards. And that's when I get the fear really picking up. And I didn't want to pull out of this though. I wanted to continue. So I ended up praying specifically to Jesus because Jesus and Mary, the Marys like that, like if I feel a lot of fear, I tend to go straight to that. And then it's like a very powerful um energy. I don't know what you want to call it to pray to, being energy. And then I was inside. So it's like I was like desperately praying because I was feeling so scared, but simultaneously I was surrendering. So it was enough of both to keep me in it. So then I get down there and then I'm in a classroom or like a meeting room. and someone hands me a fan. It is white or ivory color with an intricate symbol on it. So you know those fans? I have one on the wall there, but it's like flat and then it'd be like a rainbow shape on the top. And then you like hold the middle. It wasn't like that. It had like a handle and then it was like almost like the shape of my face, but it was like a symbol of some sort. Just in case anyone has any insight on this fan. So I'm holding the fan. I am kind of propped next to a table, and there's a circle of beings that are sitting in a circle. And I have the impression it was all females, but I'm not sure. It was like a feminine energy. So I'm sitting on the ground. By the way, this is a very, very real experience that I was in. It looks as real as this experience. So I'm sitting on the ground and they ask a question to the group. And then the group responds. They wait for my response, but I wasn't able to successfully speak clearly. Like, I'm not fully able to be in the form. I couldn't move or talk with precision. It's like a sometimes if you are in a certain dream state, wherever you've traveled, wherever wherever you've made it to, you might not like be in a state where you're strong enough in wherever you've traveled to to do what you want to do. Like you're just not strong enough in that state. So I try to like wave my little fan and say hi because I want to like communicate with them. I feel they feel very familiar and I feel really comfortable and I want to know what they're talking about. Like I want to know why I've arrived here. Once I get there, I want to be there. So they ask another question and I'm unable to respond. So a couple of the beings try to help me up, but they realize I don't have the strength. And another being says, no, it's too soon. Then I put the fan in my, like, kind of like put it in my mouth, like I'm like a toddler, like playing with it. And actually, when this happens, I see myself. So my awareness has like pulled away from where I was, and I see myself like over there with this thing in my mouth. And I'm like, but it's like at the same time, my awareness is also still inside that form that I can see because the thoughts I'm having, I'm over here, but the thoughts that I'm having, it's like they're the same inside that and inside me being pulled away. Perhaps you're following this, able to follow this. It's actually, I'm just gonna put it out there. I'm so good at explaining things, you're definitely gonna understand. Okay. So yeah, it's almost like I'm like a toddler. I'm not and I think, why am I doing that? And then I try to like pull it out of my mouth. Like, why am I doing this? So traveled to meet these beings, and then one of the beings in the circle says she's not ready yet. And then like just like the snap of my fingers, I open my eyes and I'm back in my room. By the way, at the right before I open my eyes, I'm shown a visual. Just so sometimes when you travel or you go into a dream state and a different dream state, you're watching like a movie play out, and other times it's almost like you're being flashed symbols. Like you're looking at the projector and like there's a symbol and then it'll switch. Oh, and by the way, the beings in this circle were shapeshifters because they were just constantly their shape was just constantly switching. It was nothing like scary. It was just different beings. Um, whether it was like an animal or like I don't recall, but I just was observing that. So the symbol that I was shown right before I opened my eyes was a baby lamb laying down but holding its head up. And then my first thought was it's Lamb of God. I I honestly don't know anything about the history of that saying. I Googled it and it's about Jesus, I'm pretty sure. And then I talked to someone recently and they're like, there are so many books about the Lamb of God and how that symbolism came around. And so, I look forward to learning more about it. I had a second, so I guess later in the day, I must have closed my eyes because it says next dream state. And all I pulled out of it, like it must have been a really short little closing my eyes. Oh yeah, because I set a timer. You guys are getting to a lot of information here, but I set a timer for 1 hour because my idea was to meditate for 1 hour. And that whole vision thing, I woke up and it was, I think, like 34 minutes of the hour of the alarm. So then I was like, okay, let me just lay here a little bit longer because I didn't finish my hour, even though I was like completely in shock from this dream travel of them being like taking me through this whole like flying and then deep, deep underwater and then arriving to these beings that I knew and was like, hey guys, like I want to be here. And then they say she's not ready yet. So the next dream I had within that hour, they say, whenever you are in the present moment, call on a shamanic ritual to support you. That's pretty badass. Okay. So the following morning, I did a dream class online and I wasn't gonna do it, but I had already paid for it and I'm like, why wouldn't I do this? Okay, let me just log in and do this. So the entire thing, synchronistically, was about a guy named Yates. And I honestly don't know much about this person, but he is not alive in this state anymore, but maybe he was a poet. I don't know. Yeats. I'm sure a lot of people know of this Yeats. It's Yeats. Anyhow, the teacher starts saying, Yeats' thing, like, because Yeats wrote a lot of books. Yeats' thing was he would lie down on his back, he would close his eyes, and then he would travel and he would meet in beings in other realms and other dream states and would work closely with them on whatever they're working on, you know? So, you know, and so he said the way that Yeats would travel, he called it like in a ghost form, which is basically a spirit form. So, that's exactly what I did the day before is lie down on my back, close my eyes, travel in out of body in a spirit form to meet other beings to work on this committee. And I've worked with all kinds of beings that I consciously remember, but this was my first time like sitting in a circle committee when it because this was a oh yeah, earlier I was saying Vision Quest. Can this camera like figure out where I am? Camera here. And I guess what I mean by Vision Quest is they're spontaneous visions because I don't set the intention to do this. I mean, I could, but I feel like they arrive when they're supposed to. I don't need to seek them out. So just the synchronicity of Yates doing this exact same thing, and I thought that was a pretty cool story. And there is another story I want to share. just to add to the epicness of dreaming and how much our society is disconnected from our dreams, and how I got tapped into dreams by getting in a car accident and having very traumatic health issues that kept me from participating in regular society for a few years. And it turns out this was a huge gift that tapped me into my natural gifts. And so I was guided to a book called Original Wisdom: Stories of an Ancient Way of Knowing by Robert Wolfe. And he is out in the world studying people, studying other civilizations. And this book, at least this part of the book, is about the Sng'oi people. And they are basically Aboriginal people in Malaysia. They're very healthy and self-sufficient. And okay, so they're the people we think of as the poorest. They live well without doing much of anything. And this is really important that I'm sharing this right here. Like, I'm just reading it straight out of the book, this part. So, I want to tell you about these people and their relationship with dreaming. And okay, so they don't have jobs, they don't work a 9 to 5, and they certainly don't work for anyone else. They don't farm, they don't take care of animals. They spend their days doing what they do best. So some of them like to make things like canoes, cloth, pots, or carved objects. Some of them hunt or fish. Some have a talent for staying in touch with another reality. They are priests, shamans, or healers. Some have a talent for making other people feel good. Some live very close to the earth or the ocean, with very few of what we think of as necessities of life. They live well. Sadly, it is no exaggeration to say that as soon as we come and bring them civilization, they plummet into abject poverty and ill health. So basically, these people are thriving in their way, and they have very different customs than we do. And but one thing about the Singoi, I'm probably not saying that right because why would I know how to say that? But so it talks about when they wake up in the morning. So they might not wake up at the same time, but those that wake up early lie quietly and wait for more people to awaken. And he says, and somehow, as if by magic, we find ourselves sitting in a circle, rubbing our eyes, stretching to get the kinks out. And then one person will start to talk about their dream, and then that becomes the conversation. So every morning they wake up and it's a dream conversation. So these people are not tuned into the news. They don't go to the supermarket. They don't stay busy with a 9 to 5 job. These people are just in community, working with earth, working with earth, being on earth with in nature. Okay, I'm going to read this paragraph right out of the book. So, they didn't think that they were sharing dreams as we think of dreams. The Singoi believe that the world we live in is a shadow world and that the real world is behind it. At night, they believe we visit that real world, and in the morning, we share what we saw and learned there. The story that was created around the memories that 4 or 5 people brought back from the real world would set the tone for the day. And so they would sleep in these shelters, like a group, there would be like a few shelters. And so whomever would sleep in your shelter You would like put your dreams together and then that dream would like play out that day. Whether it was as simple as we saw this like very colorful bird, or there's going to be a really bad storm, or predicting someone's health, whatever it is. Sometimes there was nothing and sometimes there were big things. But these people, yeah, we who had slept in that shelter would live that story that day. So the thing is, I just intuitively, through my actually paying attention to my dreams, where you can arrive in experiences that are as real as this or more real, as far as you can feel, you can smell, you can taste, you can make decisions. You it's it just eventually I realized that there is no difference of dreaming. There's no difference in our dreams at night to like this waking life. This waking life is like a dream state where you're lucid, and it just happens to be a dream state that you keep returning to for this incarnation, the length of this incarnation. So this is just awesome because this is um, a culture that has not been disturbed by modern civilization, and they believe that this waking life is a shadow world of our real life. So I just want to put that out there because it can sound really insane, but I personally feel very grounded and I know I'm being led by a higher power, and a lot of the suffering that goes on is because of the disconnection from our true nature. And my dreams would like me to be really activate my throat chakra in sharing this kind of stuff. I like just kind of tried to look at my teeth for some reason. Okay, calm down, Celia. Focus. It was like I looked at my teeth and I was like, I must look at them more. What is that? I love my teeth, but I didn't wear my retainers. And apparently I just took a moment to be in shock that that's what my teeth look like. So you guys, I believe everyone can access this, and it's just a matter of getting a little weird and not and just like these Aborigine people, their way of being is so different from ours, their norms. And so sometimes what we think in this society is the way that you need to act and the things you need to do. It's like, why? Why do I need to act normal? What if, what if I could shift that into a way of being that felt way more natural and was like way more enjoyable? So maybe sometimes we can let go of the way we've always done things and just try something different. If you have questions, let me know. If you know what that fan was about when I was with those beings, let me know. And the journey shall continue. Thank you guys for listening. Oh, finale. Last night in my dream, I received a letter from myself. It was dated 2033, and right now it's 2025. So that I would be 46 years old. And it was a short poem, approximately like 2 sentences, and the theme of it was all about love. So if you want to send a letter, I've heard of this many times with you know, reaching a younger version of yourself during a certain transition or whatever season of life and sending them support and healing and something helpful, good vibes. I straight up received a letter from myself from 2033. So I would say you could have you could definitely do this, and I think you should definitely do this. Just write out what you most want yourself to hear at a certain age, and then you might as well just burn the piece of paper because that seems to be a powerful thing to do. So, love, 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 love. Bye.